2017 Ford Focus, hatchback, base model, super duper red, super bright, obnoxiously, awesomely red. I like that. Automatic gearbox. The engine spec, I didn't look it up beforehand, so I'm gonna cut to it now. Right, there you go. I've driven a previous generation Focus sedan. I hated it. So how does this car drive? How does it actually, you know, feel from behind the wheel? It actually feels quite good. And I'm surprised to say that. First of all, the engine. In this car, that feels fine. It's geared so that it will get off the line quickly. In lower gears, it accelerates well enough to where you never feel underpowered in traffic or on the highway. Das ist gut. The gearbox has a hard time making up its mind in low gears. You can always sort of feel it thinking about like, should I shift here? I don't know, you know what, keep it a little longer. Shift now? No? Okay, now, yeah, it just doesn't have a keen idea of what it's doing at all times, or at least that's the sense I get. I think that's a weak point, but overall, it's not bad. You can live with it. I don't think it ruins the car entirely. Steering. It feels like a new car. I think the steering feel is too light. I feel a little disconnected from the front axle, but again, this is a entry-level base model hatchback. What do you expect? It has no sporting pretensions or, you know, high-end equipment on it at all. So that being considered, I think the steering is actually pretty okay. Okay, brakes. The brakes are like an on-off switch in this car. It's actually not just this car, it's all newer Fords. These brakes bite immediately. So that's good and bad. Good because it inspires confidence. You know if you need to stop in a hurry, the car will absolutely do so. The brakes are quite powerful if you want them to be. But for those first initial drives that you take in the car after coming out of something else, you have to recalibrate the way you operate the brake pedal because you really have to be delicate with the way you apply it in order to not do this every time you brake. So again, not bad enough to ruin the car, definitely requires a period of adjustment though. All the buttons on the dashboard are analog. Not the dashboard, that's a dashboard. This is a center console. All the buttons on the center console, they're analog, which makes it wonderfully easy to navigate. I hate touchscreens in cars. They are finicky, they never work, they're distracting. This is nice. I can live with this. So, I can't see a f***ing thing. I think the general look of the cabin is okay. It's pretty plain. There's no real variance in texture or colors. It's just, you know, you can have any color as long as it's black. It's not an eyesore and it works well, so I'm cool with that. Everything is well within reach. None of the buttons have given me any grief trying to use them. All the menus are easy to navigate on the different screens. You have one in the dashboard, one on the center console. What's funny is that the screen in the dashboard, which is tiny, is the same size as the screen in the console, which is also tiny, so bring your reading glasses. I have to put my glasses on, otherwise we might be writing a review for a wrecked car. And this isn't my car, so I really don't want to wreck it. I'm gonna wreck it! So suspension. Probably the most impressive part of the car. Very smooth on the highway. Composed around town. It never feels too bumpy or too busy. And then when you get it into a fast bend, like we're going to do right now, it's just, there's those good brakes. It's really composed. The body roll is really controlled. The damping is really good, even around bumpy city streets. It never feels rough or jarring or too busy. It's really, really well done. I think
12 miles, turn right onto US 278 West.
You heard the woman? No, I think this car looks fantastic. The design is really, really clean, but it does look unique. I think this is a recognizable design, and the hatchback looks mega. But that's an important thing to note. The 4-door Focus looks like everything else. The 5-door Focus, this car looks amazing considering the segment that it's in. The other drawback to this car, I think, is the seating position. I just can't get the seating position to be ideal. I'm too close to the pedals if I'm at the right distance from the wheel. I like to be pretty close to the wheel. And if I want to be at the right distance from the pedals, I'm way too far away from the wheel unless I sit absolutely and totally upright. The seats themselves also, again, we're talking about an entry-level base model car. So what do you really expect, man? Unfortunately, they're a little flat. They're sort of supportive. The bolsters are kind of there. I would prefer a little more, and I think that better bolstering and a deeper seat would actually complement the way this car looks and drives. Could I see myself actually buying this car? Do you know, I think I could with a manual. I would not buy it with an automatic, strictly on my preferences. I think anyone who buys this car looking for something that delivers great gas mileage, I've averaged about 32 during my week with it, 32 miles per gallon. The flexibility of the hatchback, an overall relatively fun car to drive, I think any buyer would be happy with this. For me to be pleased with it, I would just need a manual transmission, and honestly, I would be good to go. In a car that's just designed to scoot you around and maybe carry a few things to and from a camping trip or the beach or the racetrack, what more can you ask for?